Along with wealth, power is perhaps the most sought-after thing in the world. Power shapes the world and our society. And when it comes to countries with power, well, they could even end the world as we know it if they wanted to. So, power is no joke. Welcome to Who's Number One. In this video, we are going to be taking a look at the 10 most powerful countries in the world. But how exactly is power defined? Well, in the global arena, it is multifaceted and encompasses political influence, economic resources, and military might. Each country's power indicates its prowess in multiple aspects. So to be considered for this list, a country must be a world leader, have economical and political influence, have strong international alliances, and finally, a strong military. The countries you are about to see are the most powerful all around. So let's dive into the list. Number 10. United Arab Emirates. The United Arab Emirates' discovery of oil in the mid-20th century rapidly transformed the country's economy, allowing it to become one of the richest and most powerful nations worldwide. But they do have a little problem. The country home to the tallest building in the world is way too reliant on revenues from petroleum and natural gas, with some 80% of the UAE's economy being based on oil exports. Oil revenue has enabled the UAE's GDP per capita to now be comparable to that of major Western European nations, and the country has the most competitive economy in the Arab world. But it cannot even begin to be compared to the West in terms of military power. Number 9. Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia equals oil, literally. The economy of Saudi Arabia is dominated by petroleum and its associated industries, ranking first internationally in terms of oil reserves with about 1/5 of the world's known reserves. It is also the largest oil exporter and third largest producer, controlling the world's second largest oil reserves and the sixth largest gas reserves. The kingdom is categorized as a World Bank high-income economy and is the only Arab country to be part of the G20 major economies. Saudi Arabia offers a tuition-free university education, no personal income tax, and a free universal healthcare system. It is heavily dependent on foreign labor, though, being home to the world's third-largest immigrant population, and it also has one of the world's youngest populations, with approximately 50% of its population being under 25 years old. Oh, and though official wealth numbers are not known, the Saudi royal house is without a doubt one of the wealthiest families to have ever existed. Number 8. Japan. The very fabric of the global market is interwoven with the thread of Japanese brands. From the rev of a Toyota or Honda engine to the precise capture of a Nikon camera, Japan's corporate giants echo the country's commitment to innovation, quality, and global outreach. Japan is one of the world's most literate and technically advanced nations. It has the third largest economy in the world and is among the world's largest producers of vehicles, electronic equipment, and steel. And its economic influence is the fourth highest in the world. The Japanese government is focusing on its technology and robotics industries, aiming to maintain its position as a global tech leader, and its robotics industry is mainly known for its innovative solutions and advanced technologies. Number 7. France. As one of the world's oldest countries, France's reach extends around the globe through all domains, and boasts the 7th largest economy and the 6th strongest military in the world. And if you didn't know, it is the world's third largest exporter of weapons. Its strong international alliances and economic influence are key, and now focused on its digital transformation and green energy initiatives, the country is working on modernizing its industries and transitioning to renewable energy sources. Politically, France plays a significant role in the European Union's policies and regulations, and it has the most extensive military capabilities out of all EU members, being a nuclear-armed power and having a significant arsenal of conventional weapons. France's access to both the Atlantic and Mediterranean seas gives the country a strategic advantage. Number 6. South Korea. How in the world is a country that relied on U.S. aid until the 1960s now investing tens of billions of dollars to build new electric vehicles, next-generation batteries, and semiconductors in the United States? South Korea's high-tech, service-based economy is a foreign investment success story that has propelled the country to become one of the world's biggest economies, one that has one of the world's largest gross national savings and reserves of foreign investment, and one that is also a huge exporter of cars and technology. South Korea's education system and the establishment of a motivated and educated populace were largely responsible for spurring the country's high-technology boom and economic development, as South Korea began to adapt an export-oriented economic strategy to fuel its economy. And it doesn't fall short on other categories either, as it has the 5th strongest military in the world. Number 5. United Kingdom. In the days of empire, Britain was a force to be reckoned with. Coalitions of the willing were an unnecessary nicety, and Britain's opinion mattered, both in Europe and further afield. Today, no one really cares about what Britain has got to say. Well, maybe not like that, but the United Kingdom has certainly lost a big chunk of its power if we compare it to last century, when it controlled arguably the biggest empire to ever exist. Now, having said this, there is no denying that the UK maintains a strong global influence, as it is still a highly developed nation that exerts considerable international influence, in its capital London. Aside from being one of the most remarkable cities in the world, is a major international financial center. And the UK has many of the world's top universities as well. The United Kingdom is a leader in today's world, having the 6th largest economy and military in the world, and maintains strong international alliances, despite not being part of the European Union anymore. Number 4. Germany. Germany's power rests primarily on its economy, which ranks 4th worldwide and 1st in Europe, and it also helps that Germany is the face of Europe in the European Union, something that enables them to form strong international alliances and have a strong economic influence. As the most populous nation in the European Union, Germany is one of the biggest importers and exporters on the planet, and it has produced some of the world's leading figures in the natural and social sciences, as well as the arts. It also has a highly skilled and affluent workforce, but it does have some issues such as its aging population. Germany is leading the way in the European Union's green energy initiatives, focusing on transitioning to renewable energy sources and reducing carbon emissions. It's also focused on digital transformation in various sectors, including manufacturing and healthcare, aiming to improve efficiency and productivity. Number 3. Russia. Russia has always had an aura of power around it, maybe because it encompasses 1/8 of the Earth's landmass, which obviously makes it the largest country in the world. Maybe because it has the world's largest natural gas reserves and the 2nd largest oil reserves. Or maybe it is because it has had some pretty scary leaders throughout its history, and still to this day. Whatever it is, the Russian economy is actually much smaller than that of the European Union, yet Russia is still more powerful than any country in the EU. How is that possible? Well, Russia is a major player in global affairs, both politically and militarily, and actually, it is Europe who grants Russia this huge power by leaving defense as a matter for each of its constituent nations instead of having a combined European Union army. In economic terms, Russia's GDP is equal to the combined GDP of Belgium and the Netherlands. So why does Russia weigh so much more in the world than these two countries? While Russia is hardly stronger economically, it has enormous resources, land mass, the 2nd strongest military in the world, it maintains the world's largest stockpile of nuclear weapons, and also possesses the world's 2nd largest fleet of ballistic missile submarines. They are also one of only 3 national militaries, alongside those of the US and China, that operate strategic bombers. Plus, Russia plays a significant role in global geopolitics. Number 2. China. China is the 2nd largest country in the world by landmass and has the world's 2nd biggest economy, so this spot suits it perfectly. Apart from having nuclear weapons and boasting the largest military in the world, China has been one of the world's fastest-growing major economies since reforms in 1978. And its rapid economic growth is recognized for lifting millions of people out of poverty. But that growth has caused problems. Growing inequality, pollution, and growing tensions with other major countries have become major issues. China has received the most consistent coverage in the popular press of its potential superpower status for decades now, but at this moment, it is entering an era of much slower economic growth, raising a daunting prospect. It may never get rich, but that will certainly not be for a lack of trying. China is aiming to boost economic development and trade by connecting Asia with Africa and Europe via land and maritime networks, and it is positioning itself as a global tech leader. Despite this, China is no longer set to eclipse the US as the world's biggest economy soon, and it may never consistently pull ahead to claim the top spot, as the nation's confidence slump becomes more entrenched. Experts now forecast it will take until the mid-2040s for China's GDP to exceed that of the US, and even then, it will happen by a small margin before falling back behind. Number 1. United States. The US, the land of freedom, the American dream. Unrivaled as the world's most powerful nation, the United States is the biggest global powerhouse. However, the US will have to do things very well if they want to continue leading the world in the following decades. The United States' power rests on the size of its economy, which is the world's largest by far. It makes up nearly a quarter of the entire world economy and enables it to dominate global trade, finance, and international business. On top of that, America has some of the world's largest and most important businesses, being home to some of the biggest and most valuable companies in the world. And although the US military doesn't have the biggest army in terms of personnel, it is still the strongest and has the biggest defense budget in the world. But on top of it all, America's power comes from the US dollar, which has been the world's leading currency for more than a century. An estimated 61% of the world's foreign banks hold currency reserves in US dollars, and the majority of international trades for goods and services are conducted in the US currency. There is no denying the power of the US dollar internationally, and it is key to the United States' strength as a country. So, were you expecting different countries on this list? Do you think that any of these will be able to dethrone the United States as the most powerful country in the future? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Now, if you have enjoyed the video and learned something, let us know by clicking the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our weekly top 10 videos. Thank you for watching. This is Who's Number One. See you next time.